I was about 9 years old, and there was a place called the Austin Motor Company. They had a huge canteen and they had a judo club in there. And I started about, say when I was about 9 years old, on and off for about 2 years. I couldn't afford to buy a gi or do any gradings, etc. And they just let me train, and I really enjoyed it. And then I didn't really do any martial arts until one day my brother Lee and my dad came home and said, "Oh, we've just been to this martial art club, we've been doing Aikido, etc, etc, why don't you come?" I went, "No, I've been there, done that, not interested." And they went on and on and on and on, and basically bullied me into going. It was just fantastic. It was really different because it wasn't just one martial art. He was doing Aikido, he was doing Tenjitsu, he was doing Aikijitsu, they were doing weapons and all sorts, and it was just fantastic. And I spent a long time training with him. The head of the association at the time was a gentleman called Sensei Reg Bleekman, who was actually Japanese trained, and so was actually Soki Smith. They were trained by a gentleman called Kinshiro Abe. Sensei Abe was the first generation of instructors that came out of Japan teaching Aikido. So that was the style that I learned. So the actual instruction was first class. The arts were really defensive. Aikido, very defensive. There's no real strikes or kicks. In the earlier versions there were, you just didn't see them. The moves were so quick and intricate that you didn't actually see. So it's very much defensive. I respect you as long as you respect me. We teach the children virtually no strikes. The reason for that is our thoughts are that in school, for example, and bullying and aspects like that, the last thing the teacher wants is the student that's being bullied to actually strike the other student, because they're both then just as bad. A young lad called Jack, he and his friend, more so his friend, was being picked on and pushed around by a gang of 3 bullies, and he asked them to stop, and they wouldn't. They persisted, and then he stood between his friend who was being beaten up and punched and said, "Look, please stop." And this young thug threw a punch at him, and he put the young man on the ground, face down into the dirt, held him down there and made him tell his friends to back off and leave him alone. And then he retreated as we've taught him, and left the bully crying on the ground. The average woman, I take my wife who's 5'2", she's never going to be able to punch me hard enough to put me down on the floor. Should anybody attack. We teach them to use their fingers, their palms, their thumbs, different parts of their anatomy, definitely their knees. And the kicks are not high, they're very much from the waist down. Then we teach them again to manoeuvre, instead of trying to block the punch, actually teach them to redirect the force and energy of the punch into a circle, in which then they can use powerful locks and throws, in which to give them valuable seconds to escape. We're heading towards 60 students, 3 different clubs, running a festival, having government agencies want what we teach for their clients. So we've come a long way.